Have you ever felt like a genius? Maybe it was an assessment you got back where you did really good, or you thought of something on the spot that you were really impressed of. But the point is that you believed in inherent intelligence. Well, this actually happened to me, and believe it or not, it ruined my grades. You see, this year, I had 2 back-to-back mathematics exams. In the first one, I had a lot to get done, a lot to cover. And so I decided to study a bit extra than usual. I put in the work, I show up to my exam, and I don't feel too confident. However, when I get my results back, I get a 98% and I'm at the top of my class. My peers tell me that I'm really smart, my teacher does as well, and I'm getting buttered up. I feel like a genius. However, this same mindset, whenever I went to study, made me feel like I didn't need to put in the effort that everyone else was, because I was a genius. So I went into my exam feeling confident as ever, but when I get my marks back, I do worse. My rank goes down and I feel really bad about myself. I feel disheartened, I feel like an idiot. But I learned a valuable lesson. Never fall into the trap of believing that intelligence is inherent. In this video, you are going to learn the difference between a fixed and growth mindset, what IQ even is, and how it's ruining your grades. And at the very end of this video, I'm going to be giving you 3 actionable steps that you can use to get rid of this mindset for good, so that you can see an improvement in grades without changing anything but the way you view your brain. So firstly, what is a fixed and growth mindset? I've just mentioned it, but you probably have no idea what it is. Well, first is the fixed mindset. Let me tell you something that happened the other day when I was actually at a friend's house and me and my friends were talking. You see, this friend of mine, which I hadn't seen for a while, me and him were talking about year 12 exams and how we would do in it. He told me that he had taken an IQ test and had gotten in the top 1% of IQs in the population. And so he was telling me that in his year 12 exams, he believed he was going to get in the top 1% of scores without trying, simply because he had a top 1% IQ. This is a very dangerous reflection of the fixed mindset. If you don't already get it, it's the belief that academic performance is a direct result in genetic or fixed factors. The growth mindset, however, believes that IQ is worth nothing, and academic performance is a result of your own efforts. So, going back to the fixed mindset, it's basically the idea and the belief in something like intelligence and IQ. But what even is IQ? I mean, the phrase is thrown around a lot. You hear high IQ, people with really high IQs who are really successful, people with really low IQs who don't do good in school. Well, so you can understand how I feel about IQ, let me tell you the story of the intelligence quotient. In the early 1900s, the French government sought a method to identify students who needed special educational assistance. Psychologist Alfred Binet, along with his colleagues Theodore Simon, were tasked with this challenge. They developed the Binet-Simon scale, a test designed to assess children's mental abilities, focusing on skills like memory, attention, and problem solving. Binet introduced the concept of mental age, which represented the age level at which the child was functioning intellectually. For instance, if a 7-year-old performed at the typical 9-year-old level, their mental age was considered 9. In 1912, a German psychologist, William Stern, proposed a formula to quantify this relationship, dividing the mental age by the chronicle age and multiplying it by 100. This calculation produced what he termed the intelligence quotient, IQ. Later, in 1916, the American psychologist Lewis Terman at Stanford University adapted Binet's test for US population, resulting in the Stanford-Binet intelligence scale. This version popularized the use of IQ scores as a standard measure of intelligence. However, it's important to note that Binet never actually believed in it. In fact, he cautioned against interpreting IQ scores as a fixed measure of intelligence. He believed that intelligence was multifaceted and malleable, emphasizing that his test was intended to identify areas where children needed support and not to label them permanently. So, if you haven't already noticed, IQ is very outdated. And to put it in simple terms, IQ is like measuring a fish's intelligence by how well it can climb a tree. I'm sure even you've heard that cliche phrase, but it's more than true. There are so many different ways to think, apply your brain, approach questions, and remember information. The idea of IQ is just so linear and irrelevant. And if believing in an outdated method wasn't bad enough, believe it or not, adopting either a fixed or growth mindset can actually affect your academic performance. And that is not only the core of this whole video, but what I meant in the introduction. You see, there was a study done by Dr. Carolyn Dweck where a group of students were praised after finding success on very easy exams. These groups were broken up into two. One group was told that they did very good because of their inherent intelligence. The other group was told that they did very good because of the effort they put into the task. Now after that, both groups were given a choice to do either easy or difficult tasks. Now the group that was told that they gave in more effort chose to do the harder tasks more. On top of that, the group that was told that they did good because they were smart actually had higher rates of lying about scores to keep up with perceived intelligence. And over the next 2 years, both groups were tracked in their academic performance. The fixed mindset group saw a decrease in performance over 2 years, whereas the growth mindset group saw an increase in performance over that same time frame. So, it's actually backed by research that the adoption of the fixed mindset can negatively impact your grades. And that is the core of this video. So you can click away now, move on with your life, knowing to avoid it, but you'd be forgetting one big thing. How do you implement the growth mindset? Well, you've just listened to all my yaps, so I'm not going to waste any of your time. I'm just going to cut straight to the points so that you can leave, move on with your life, and use this to improve your grades. First is to set achievable goals that require effort, to prove to yourself that progress is possible and growth in any field can be achieved with sufficient effort. Next is to replace phrases like I can't with I can't yet. Don't limit yourself to inherent factors, but start telling yourself that anything can be achieved with enough effort. The word yet signals that growth is possible with time and practice, something that is very healthy for your academic performance. And finally is to focus on process over results. After a test, when I see people do bad, I see them say things like, I'm so stupid, and that's the reason why I did bad. They could have pointed out where in the study or exam process they went wrong and actively tried to fix it next time, instead of allowing their failures to become a part of themselves. So there you have it. Now you know exactly what's harming your academic performance and how to fix it. If you enjoyed this video, then subscribe to the channel for more student-to-student advice. Thank you for your time and use it wisely.